Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Happy New Year's everyone. I hope you guys have a great night tonight. I can't believe it's the end of 2018. Seems like this year has gone by super fast. And this is going to be my first time doing my favorite top 10 movies of the year. And like I said, this is my favorite movies of the year. The films that I enjoyed the most. So obviously, this is going to be my opinion. That goes without saying. I'm sure it's probably going to differ from some of you guys out there. But this is the films that I enjoyed the most in theaters, what I did get a chance to see. There are some films that I haven't saw yet that might even might have made this list. I haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse, so just a warning to you guys out there, because I know I've seen that for a bunch of other people out here on YouTube. So heads up, haven't seen it yet, heard great things, definitely want to check it out, and hopefully will do soon. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my top 10. So, starting with number 10 is Black Panther. It's crazy. I almost feel like this film, came out last year in 2017. It seems like it's been such a long time. But for Black Panther, I remember, seeing Civil War when Civil War was getting ready to come out. And I was really intrigued with, once we first saw glimpses of Black Panther, I was like, wow, I didn't know a whole lot about the character. I haven't read the comics with him or anything like that, so I don't know a lot of his background, or I didn't know a lot of his background. And so I was just really interested to see, what they were going to do with this. You had Ryan Coogler directing it. He did a great job with Creed and on Fruitvale Station, amongst others. So, and he did a great job with this. It was really cool getting to see, Wakanda, all the different kind of characters. Just the way it was shot, directed, great performances by Chadwick Boseman, as well as Michael B. Jordan playing Killmonger. And, I really had a great time with this film. It was cool to see, kind of see the backstory of, or some of the backstory of Black Panther, and what kind of, the rest of that, Wakanda as well. So that was great. Number 9 for me is actually a recent film that I just did a review for, and that is Aquaman. So Aquaman was a film that was, I wasn't really looking forward to, as if you guys did see, watch my review for that. Wasn't something that I was like, I was definitely going to see it, but it wasn't on my most anticipated list. And this film, I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going to. James Wan did a hell of a job. The visual effects team, I thought, did a great job as well. There's a lot of CGI in this movie, but in my review, I said, there wasn't really any points where it really took me out of the film. Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, both put good performances, I thought, as their respective characters. I hope we get to see more Black Manta, because he was really cool in the film as well. So yeah, I had a great time with Aquaman. Can't wait to check that out again. Number 8 is going to be Deadpool 2. So this time around, the Merc with the Mouth is back. There was a lot of great comedy in this one, but there was also some really touching moments in Deadpool 2 that, definitely wasn't expecting. Some moments that I wasn't expecting. Obviously spoilers for any of these films, but, Vanessa dying, things like that. Those were, definitely wasn't expecting them to go that route. It was cool to see, some of the X-Force, even though some of them were short-lived. And, Cable, that was funny. Had a little Thanos quip in there. Glad they got to do that. But, I had a really good time with this. It's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing with Deadpool 3, or what's going on with that, or the X-Force film. Domino was a great addition to this movie as well. So, yeah, interesting to see what Disney ends up doing with Deadpool in the future. But Deadpool 2, I felt, was a really, great sequel to the original. And actually, I might have even enjoyed it maybe a little bit more than the original film. So, number 7 is going to be Ready Player One. So, Steven Spielberg film. I remember seeing, I never read the book, and still haven't yet. I definitely want to check it out, because I've heard a lot of people say that the book is better than the movie, but I haven't read it yet. So I went into this thing just, seeing the trailer, thought it looked cool, directed by Steven Spielberg, always a sucker for his movies, so definitely wanted to check it out. And I thought this was a really fun ride, the nostalgia I thought was, there's a lot of cool like Easter eggs, but it wasn't, like over the head like nostalgia, something that was like unnecessary. So for someone like me, especially who loves all that kind of stuff, it was just really cool to see all those little different, Easter eggs throughout the film. I liked, the character of like Artemis. She was probably my favorite out of the film. And, I thought like the effects and everything were done really well. It was directed well. And I actually ended up seeing this, I think, twice. And then definitely I've watched it, a couple times on, on Blu-ray as well. So I had a great time with this. It'd be interesting to see if they do anything else as far as like sequels or anything like that. But if not, it's a great standalone film. So that made my number 7 on the list. For number 6, we have Creed 2. This was a film that I wasn't like a huge fan of like the Rocky like franchise. So I remember when the first Creed came out, it was kind of going into it a little bit blind. And I really ended up enjoying that. That was one of my top films of the year. It came out, and so I was pretty excited for the sequel. Although I was a little worried because they were switching directors. But Stephen Cable Jr. did a great job with this film. Again, another great performance by Michael B. Jordan, as well as Sylvester Stallone. And, you got some good backstory on the Drago family as well. I thought, they did a really good job with that. And overall, it was just a really hard-hitting story. A lot of emotions. The way it was shot was done very well as well. So, great sequel. I would be fine if they almost didn't do another Creed movie after this, because I think it ends in a good place. And that's why it made my list at number 6. For number 5, again, this was released right in the beginning of the year, Annihilation. So this was a film I didn't know a whole lot about again going into it. It stars Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, Gina Rodriguez, amongst others. And basically, there is this thing called the Shimmer that's kind of been slowly taking over the world. And these group of women, military like scientists, go into it to try and discover what's going on, unravel its mysteries. And this was a really cool science fiction horror thriller that I had a really good time with, and it definitely made me had me talking after the film. So anytime a movie does that, I really appreciate that. So some really weird stuff. The creatures were pretty creepy. And the score I thought was great. The direction overall was great. And this was definitely, a surprise on my list that I, ended up making it by the end of the year. So I really enjoyed Annihilation. And if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you do. I think you guys will really like it. Number 4 is A Quiet Place. Now it's funny, with Bird Box coming out recently on Netflix, all the hype about that. And I was like, man, these two movies are really similar. However, I really enjoyed A Quiet Place a lot more. Directed by John Krasinski. This is super tense film. I remember seeing this in theaters with one of my buddies, and just obviously you guys know they can't make any noise because these monsters, they're blind, but they have a really good sense of hearing. And it was just like super tense, trying to eat like popcorn and snacks like that. Really quiet. There was a couple scenes in there that had me on the edge of my seat. Emily Blunt, her giving birth in the bathtub, as well as when she's like going down the stairs and steps on that nail. There was definitely some nail biting scenes, and I thought this was a really clever, movie for the time. And now we have Bird Box, and a lot of people are comparing the two, but I think this is just overall just a much better movie in my opinion. So that's why it made number 4 on my list. At number 3, we have A Star Is Born. So, this film's been remade a bunch of times over the years. This time it's with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. You have one person that their career is really just starting to kind of take off, as the other person's is really kind of starting to dwindle, mainly due to drug and alcohol abuse. And this was it was a really sad story. Going into this film, I hadn't seen like any of the originals or anything, so this was the first time for me. And I thought, excellent performances by Bradley Cooper, Gaga, Sam Elliott as well as, a supporting character. This, I actually was like pretty close to tears, towards like the end of the film. And I can definitely see this, winning like, winning some awards, during award season, possibly some Oscars for, some of the actors. So really great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. And that's why, it made it so high up on my list. It's definitely left an impact on me. So now, number 2 and number 1 were pretty difficult for me. Both of these films I was really anticipating. One was an event leading up, 10 years in the making. The other one is, Michael Myers coming back to the big screen. It was really hard choosing between these two, but I ended up putting Halloween at number 2. I had a blast with this film. I actually got to see this, as you guys remember from my review, a couple weeks early, which was really cool. Saw it down Salem, Mass. We had Ryan Turek as well as Andy Matichak were there for the screening, which made it even better. Got to meet them afterwards. And, I was kind of nervous after the whole Rob Zombie debacle, what this was going to look like. But man, as soon as that movie started, that intro scene, we got the titles that were kind of a throwback to the original. And, James June Courtney as Michael Myers, he absolutely killed it, pun intended. And, I thought they did a really great job bringing Michael Myers back, making him pretty scary again. Score, John Carpenter was back. He did an awesome job with that. And I had a great job with this film, or I had a great time with this film. I can't wait to pick it up. I know it's out on digital now. I'm definitely going to pick up the hard copy myself. But yeah, I watched this. I've seen this a couple times in theaters, and I know I'll be watching it, probably every year around Halloween time, because it's definitely one of my favorites in the Halloween franchise now. So now you guys know, as I just mentioned, number 1 for me on the list is Avengers Infinity War. So I mean, how can you really top this? A movie that's been 10 years in the making. How many Marvel films in the making? This was just the event of the year for me. I went to the Jordan's IMAX, got to see this on the biggest screen possible. Like 30 different characters all in one movie, and it was just crazy. I remember I didn't get to see it opening night, and I saw it, I think it was like Saturday, so I had to wait a couple days. Managed to avoid spoilers, thank God for that. And there was some stuff in there that I wasn't really expecting to happen, some things I was expecting to happen, but overall just the scope of the movie was insane. I can't wait to see, the second part, especially with that cliffhanger that they left us with, even though we know some of those characters are coming back. But, Thanos as a villain worked really well. You kind of, even though he was insane, you kind of understood, where he was coming from. He had his reasons, and, great performances from, all the characters that we love. So Infinity War was my number 1 film of the year. And, yeah, I ended up seeing it a couple times in theaters. I've seen it a couple times since it's been released. And, I can't wait till Endgame comes out, counting the days till that's released. So, but yeah, so guys, that is my top 10 favorite films of the year. Let me know what you guys think down below. I know, and again, this is, my opinion. I want to see what your guys' lists are, so go ahead and put those down below in the comments. Let me know what you think. And make sure, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button. Really appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. And make sure you guys check back soon. I'm going to be doing a video for my most anticipated films of 2019. There is definitely a lot of them. I can't wait. It's going to be an exciting year for movies. So make sure to look out for that. And again, I hope you guys have a happy new year. And make sure to check back soon for more Pop Culture with Pat.